Hello, dear friends. When we destroy nature, we degrade our own ability to experience the divine. Sign it, RFK Jr. Opinion piece: Cosmic Ethics, Galactic Code, Right to ask for help, Law of Divine Grace, Key to avoiding conflicts, End of the Reign of Darkness, Physical and Spiritual Abundance, Right to direct divine intervention. The world is on the brink of a change. Every being has the right to a positive life. Let's start. Earth is the last planet in this universe under the occupation of dark forces, the last relic of the cosmic wars that tore the galaxy apart for millions of years. As the galaxy was liberated from the clutches of the dark forces, the forces of light evolved from a force created out of the need to defend the basic freedoms of sentient beings into a harmonious galactic and cosmic society. On Earth, the wicked have threatened massive destruction if the forces of life intervene. As in any hostage situation, great skill in negotiation and a tactical approach is required. This situation is being resolved, and planet Earth will be liberated at the right divine time. As the beings of the Galactic Confederation evolved spiritually and aligned and united with the Ascended Masters, they discovered an inner code that regulates all relationships between beings of light and their relationship with the dark forces and occupied planets. This rulebook is called the Galactic Code and represents the legal basis for all actions in this and other galaxies. This code encompasses a set of universal laws that govern the cosmos and which are aligned with principles of peace, harmony, and unity. By following these laws, humans can raise their consciousness and connect more deeply with the energy of the universe. A galactic confederation is a union or alliance between galactic federations that retain their sovereignty based on a treaty to manage defense, foreign relations, and other common interests. Perhaps some humans think that the Confederation has no right to intervene and that humanity has the right to solve its problems on its own. But that is not true. Many wars across the planets and the constant abuse of basic human rights have shown that humankind cannot handle its own situation. Thus, the Galactic Code will become the universal ethical code throughout the universe, and darkness will no longer exist in the end. Rights. Section first. Law of Divine Grace. Every sentient being has the inalienable and unconditional right to positive life experience. Suffering and pain has no value in an enlightened galactic society, free from the influence of dark forces and other aspects of cosmic anomaly. Valuing pain, suffering, and sacrifice as part of the growth experience was part of the programming of the dark forces in order to more easily enslave the populations of occupied planets. Life was never meant to be hard work and struggle, but rather a journey of joy and creativity. The unconditional positive life experience of every sentient being in the liberated universe is guaranteed by the inner connection of every living being to Source, which enables them to assist all living beings in their aspiration to turn to Source and supply the necessities of life. Various subsections of Section First regulate all life in a liberated universe and all relationships between beings of light so that conflict need never occur. Subsections. Every sentient being has an inalienable and unconditional right to physical and spiritual abundance. This ensures a positive life experience for all beings in the liberated universe. The ascended masters provide all the necessities of life, wealth, and physical and spiritual beauty, using the power they possess over the redeemed matter of the liberated universe. Every sentient being has an inalienable and unconditional right to ascension. This subsection explains how the ascended masters use their advanced understanding of the spiritual technology of ascension by using the electric fire of redemption, assist all beings who voluntarily choose ascension. Every sentient being has the inalienable and unconditional right to match with other beings in proportion to their position in the soul family mandala. This ensures the fusion of soul mates of opposite polarity and the alignment of all other beings, regardless of their state of development and external conditions. Every sentient being has the inalienable and unconditional right to all information. This subsection is a guarantee that every being receives all the information it needs to understand its role in the universe, a greater perspective on evolution, and all the information it needs for its decisions, growth, and well being. Every sentient being has an inalienable and unconditional right to freedom. Every being has unlimited potential for growth and life experience. Once all beings in the liberated universe create only positivity, their freedom will never oppose the freedom of other beings. Every sentient being has the inalienable and unconditional right to be divided and protected from the negative actions of other sentient beings. It requires that the forces of light divide the conflicting parties to protect them from harming each other. Therefore, the forces of light mediate the conflict until it is resolved. Justice. Any sentient being who has chosen to live and act against the principles of the Galactic Codex and refuses or is not able to accept them and balance the consequences of past actions will be taken to the great central sun, restructured in the basic elemental essence, and will begin a new cycle of evolution again. This is what is called the second death. When defeated, beings of the dark forces have the opportunity to accept the Galactic Codex, do their best to correct their mistakes, and then live positively. If they accept, they will be forgiven and join the Confederation. In case they cannot or do not want to accept it, they are taken to the central sun to be restructured with the electric fire, and their divine spark starts a new cycle of evolution from the beginning. The Galactic Confederation has the inalienable and unconditional right to intervene in all situations where the Galactic Codex is violated, regardless of local laws. The Confederation reserves the right to intervene in all areas, civilizations, planets, or solar systems where the Galactic Codex is violated. It has the right to use all peaceful means of education and regulation. If the critical mass of the principles of the Galactic Codex is violated, it has the right to use force. Special cases are planets under direct occupation of the dark forces that hold the local population hostage to hinder the progress of the forces of light. Every sentient being has the right to ask for help in case of need, and the Galactic Confederation has the right to help, regardless of local laws. This provides a legal basis for intervention and help to all hostages of the dark forces. The situation of planet Earth indicates how much power the darkness had over the light. That is changing now. The Galactic Confederation has the inalienable and unconditional right to apply the Galactic Codex and to conquer areas that violate it if necessary. This subsection provides a legal basis for the liberation of occupied planets by force. Economy. Stock market down ahead of Nvidia earnings. Tech elites loses as investors await Nvidia earnings. Nvidia stock growth slows at a dicing pace. Google and Meta employees are jealous of their wealthy colleagues at Nvidia. Goldman warns about how quickly market confidence has recovered after stocks plunged in August. Gold rush to persist. Central banks bought 483 tons of the precious metals in the first half of the year. The intriguing rise in gold prices to new heights a sign of difficult times in the financial markets, warns ING. The Russian economy shows solid growth despite sanctions. Russian national reserves in their highest levels since February 2022. According to the Atlantic report, the banking sector is in the midst of a radical change and Bank of America is in serious trouble. USA. The 30-year mortgage rate falls to its lowest level since April 2023. The ban on the import of Russian products has already caused companies to go bankrupt, according to Bloomberg. The Supreme Court rejects the Biden administration's request to restore the plan to forgive student debt. The federal government bans drilling and mining on 28 million acres in Alaska. According to Real Raw News, Trump would have reached an agreement with Zuckerberg to recognize that he censored information. Trump says that the plan to turn the US into the crypto center of the planet will be coming in a matter of hours. Generation Zero is more unhappy than ever. Money and the future are their concerns. Canada is shooting itself in the foot with new tariffs on electric vehicles, according to Chinese media. Africa. Libya's power divisions could fracture its oil output. Unexpected oil discovery at remote point in Egypt's desert. International observers monitor oil spill after Houthi attack on tanker. Europe. Telegram CEO Pavel Durov released on bail. Europe has softened the latest Basel demands, but the US has done so more. European justice forces advisors to report their clients to the Treasury. Half of the employees of the European Investment Bank fear reprisals if they report misconduct, according to a survey. Germany's inflation has everything the ECB needs to resume lowering rates. Germany confirms an economic decline of 0.1% in the second quarter of 2024. Germany's stagnation blurs hopes of economic recovery. The number of bankruptcies of companies in the European Union climbed by 3.1% in the second quarter of the year, after having risen by 4.5% in the previous quarter. Thousands of children sleep on the streets in France due to a lack of emergency accommodation. Russia has identified more than 4,000 mercenaries in Ukraine. Ukraine receives 1.4 billion euros from frozen Russian assets. Ukraine's refusal to extend the Russian gas transit agreement that expires this year will hurt European Union consumers. Europe's most dangerous volcano becomes active and Italians weigh the risk. The ground in the flagging fields rises 2 centimeters every month, causing the water level in local docks to drop. In this volcanic area near Naples, there is an increase in earthquakes, causing people to worry about a possible eruption that could devastate the region. Spain. The price of rent increases by 8.6% in July. The price of renting rooms in Spain soars in price. The price of used housing in Spain reaches a historical record, a rise of 7.9% in July. The IBEX frozen at 11,300 until Nvidia's accounts are known. The government prepares a record budget to save Mufafi. State aid to pay pensions increases by 10% until June. Spain launches a tourism program for retirees to combat loneliness. A cloud of sulfur dioxide from Iceland reaches Spain. 2 out of 3 vehicles will be banned from driving in Madrid. Google declares 63 million profits in Spain. The Chinese company HiGreen lands in Andalusia with an investment in green hydrogen. The government authorizes the construction of the largest wind farm in Spain in Teruel. Labor productivity falls in Spain twice as much as in the Eurozone. Spain has the highest life expectancy in the entire EU. Southern Europe astonishes the Anglo-Saxon world, which asks, why do they live so many years if they are poorer? Between January and July of this year, Spain has imported 59.2% of all its gas from just 2 markets. Algeria, 36.5% of the total, and Russia, 22.7%. Meanwhile, Venezuela tripled its income from its oil exports to Spain in the second quarter of 2024. Tomb of Saint Teresa of Jesus opened and the body remains incorrupt. Americas. The UN warns about the conditions of detention of journalist José Rubén Zamora in Guatemala. Demonstration in Costa Rica in defense of the education budget. A group of 21 Mexicans who fled Chiapas are asking for refuge in Guatemala. Ecuador needs to build 37 power plants before 2032. Fires in Bolivia threaten valuable cultural sites. Bolivia and Brazil agree to jointly confront the fires affecting the Amazon. Brazil's Supreme Court threatens to suspend X, formerly Twitter. Mexico. The Bank of Mexico reduces its GDP forecast due to a slowdown. Mexico's main center left party disappears. Mexico's Supreme Court expresses solidarity with workers and suspends its session. Students call for marches against López Obrador's judicial reform. The U.S. reiterates its concern about Mexico's judicial reform. The U.S. ambassador to Mexico says that the direct vote election of judges represents a risk for democracy. Argentina. The Argentine economy has fallen again and uncertainty is growing. Argentine industrial companies parade on the brink of bankruptcy. Milei reposted controversial image of deputy accused of sex trafficking. The leak of private chats between deputies increases tension in the Milei government. Tears of passion at the Tango World Cup in Buenos Aires. Venezuela. The Venezuelan opposition takes on the streets of Caracas. The opposition in Venezuela is trapped between few options. Venezuelan opposition leader Pilieris house raided. Maria Corina Machado says Maduro's repression is unsustainable. Maduro announces changes in his cabinet. Delcy Rodriguez will be Minister of Oil and Diosdado Cabello Minister of the Interior. What was missing? And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.